There are concerns on the ground as well as from my own private clients that CPF shielding might stop, and I guess that's why this discussion is really necessary right now. You know, CPF shielding has been a trending topic and it's been brought to light again because of this article. It reads, "No more CPF shielding soon." And in this article that was published on July 25th, you realize that it's mentioning that the days of exploiting loopholes, exploiting sounds a very harsh word, could soon be over after CPF posted a warning on its website. In particular, it's taking aim at the act of shielding, which is promoted by some financial advisors to circumvent the transfer from SA to RA. I'm also in the financial services industry, that's why I guess I have to track this topic very carefully. I'll be using information publicly available as well as putting disclaimers when it's relevant. And as always, if you're unsure, always check with a CPF staff or look for a qualified advisor. In today's tutorial, I'll be sharing 3 key parts. The first, I'll be giving you an insight. What is the history of CPF shielding as well as how does it actually work if you don't already know. The second part is I'll give my take on whether CPF shielding would stop soon or not. The third, I'll be sharing with you some interesting data about CPF that you may not know. So if this topic interests you, continue watching on. Hi guys, welcome back. Now let's start with how CPF shielding actually became popular. If I'm not wrong, back in 2019, Miss Lorna Tan's article really created a woke moment for many Singaporeans on how to use CPF better. Miss Lorna Tan is now with DBS, and in that article, I think it has a lot of points that we can still use as of today. Referencing to Miss Lorna Tan's article, in the green box, it reads, she had to withdraw her CPF savings and invest them temporarily in a low-cost and stable investment vehicle, and have them transferred back after the RA has been created. It reads further that she actually bought into Nikko AM Shenton short-term bond. Now, why is there a need to move out the CPF special account? The reason is because for your CPF RA, it firstly draws on your CPF SA first. Whatever you have there needs to be moved to RA. So if you have a lot of CPF SA account, you realize that that is more than sufficient to put into your RA already. Your OA is untouched. And as we know, OA only gives 2.5%, but SA gives 4%. So the question is, why can't we opt to move OA instead of SA? Why it needs to be SA first? That answer has to only come from CPF. I'm sure there are limitations, but as of now, the structure is like that. That's why Miss Lorna Tan shared her experience on what she actually did. To read further, she actually purchased this Nikko AM Shenton short-term bond. In the blue box, she's purchased it from FSM1 where there's 0 sales charge. And in the few weeks that she parked the special account there, she made a small profit. And on her birthday, 40,000, which was remaining in her special account, was transferred together with 136,000 from OA to form her full retirement sum at her age of 55 into the retirement account. Subsequently, she sold back her CPF special account and 230,662 flowed back into her CPF special account. And if we move on to the red box over there, it's mentioned that FSM1 recommended Nikko AM Shenton short-term bond because it is highly liquid and it is stable. So this is actually how CPF shielding actually became popular. I've also a previous video jumping on a bandwagon then to share with more people on how CPF special account shielding actually works. But fast forward 2 years from there, you realize that nowadays people have different ideas on CPF shielding, which I'll cover in point number 2. Point number 2, is CPF shielding going to stop? I have clients right now in the age group of 53-54 and they are going to reach that 55 age pretty soon, and they are concerned, would it stop? Should they move their special accounts right now? And my general suggestion is there is no need to hit the panic button and move it there because CPF special account gives 4%. If you move your monies early to a short-term bond fund, it's not going to deliver 4% and it's not guaranteed. So don't make a panic decision. Even if rules change, you are still good having the monies inside your special account. With that, let's move on to 2 points that I picked up from Sidley's discussion. And what we can read over here is mentioned the only way CPF SA shielding can be stopped is if CPF disallows using investments of SA funds, or if they require all SA investments to be liquidated prior to turning 55. That is actually accurate because if you understand the whole system, it's actually move the CPF special account into a short-term bond fund, correct? So if CPF disallows buying investments before the age of 55, then CPF shielding cannot happen. So that's accurate. The second comment, feels strange if they allow this given that it's so rampant. Further discriminates between financially educated and those who are not. I think discrimination is not the objective. In any case, financially educated and non-financially educated will always have that discrepancy. But let's fall back on the original intention of CPF Retirement Account RA. It is meant to be filled up to allow an individual like yourself to have enough retirement cash flow, correct? Retirement cash flow from CPF Life. So funneling it from CPF Special Account or Ordinary Account, all is still the same objective, to give you enough for retirement using your CPF Life. And understanding the intent is very important, because now I'm going to elaborate a bit further. Some have mentioned before, you can not only shield your CPF Special Account, you can also shield your CPF Ordinary Account. Do take note of it. Ordinary account requires you to keep a minimum of 20,000. So first 20k cannot be invested. For special account, is first 40k cannot be invested. So how is CPF Ordinary Account shielding achieved? It is quite simply the same process, to move out your OAs into investments, leaving only 20,000 there. And once past the age of 55, to sell the investment to move it back to CPF OA. With that, let me use an article from Dollars and Cents to elaborate how it's actually been done. And people looking to do CPF Ordinary Account shielding have two key intentions. The first group of people have the intention to fill up the CPF retirement account, but they want to use their cash. They want to tap on the retirement sum topping up scheme to push cash into the RA account itself. And this is a screenshot of how it's actually done. And the amounts to pump in using the cash could be up to the enhanced retirement sum. As of 2021, the enhanced retirement sum is 279,000. And if OA and SA is shielded, total of 60k only going in, an individual can pump in 219,000 of cash into the CPF RA. Now just now we mentioned what's the original intention of CPF RA, which is to pump towards the CPF Life to ensure an individual has enough retirement income, correct? The intention is still intact if an individual is still moving the monies using cash into RA. So that's not too big of an issue. The original intent is preserved. But let's move on to the second group of individuals. This second group of individuals are stopping the CPF OA from going to CPF RA so as to maintain greater flexibility in investments and home usage. The infographics has accurately pointed out that you can actually direct CPF to stop OAs from going to RA if you need it to service for home loan, which means that only leaves the intention of investing the OA for potentially higher return. CPF RA actually pays 4% interest, which means the investments need to achieve more than 4%, and that's not actually very easy to do. In any case, it's not guaranteed when you do investments. So for an individual to give up on investments and pump in the money back to OA, the OA only gives 2.5%, whereas the RA actually gives 4%. So it's actually to the detriment of the individual to do a CPF OA shielding wrongly. Personally, I feel that the second group may have taken a step too far in terms of doing shielding. Is CPF OA really needed to be shielded? I think that is up to anybody's interpretation. But let's focus back. The core objective of CPF is to ensure that the individual has enough cash flow for retirement. If that is a priority that everybody understands, then there's no pressure for CPF shielding to be stopped. And as always, a disclaimer, if you're unsure, always check with a CPF staff. Now let's move on to the third point, which is an interesting data on CPF balances for fellow citizens around in Singapore. This is actually a snapshot of regross balances as of 31st December 2020. So CPF actually declared us as a population, how much do we have in CPF? Age 50 to 55, this group is fast approaching the point where RA is created. What I've circled in red over there suggests that the big population actually has more than 300,000 inside their total CPF balances. That means most individuals have a good career in Singapore. A good size of the population is well prepared for retirement. And to take it a step further, an individual was reported to have 1.6 million inside her CPF. And that to me is just mind-blowing. Why keep so much inside? Simply because it's meant for your retirement, correct? So consume it. Don't build it up until it's like so big and cannot be consumed finish. But that is an awesome number to have, $1.6 million. She mentions in the article also that she gets more than 50,000 in terms of interest for consumption. So that's a good problem to have. So drawing back to other learning points from this regross balances summary, what I've realized is age of 35 onwards, which I've circled in blue, many are also having more than 300,000 already. And when you already have more than 300,000, you already have more than the enhanced retirement sum. If you keep that money intact there with interest, you are destined to have more than enhanced retirement sum when you reach the age of 55. So I think that's a good finding. Many Singaporeans are responsible for retirement. And this quick sharing, if it's useful to you, smash on like, smash on subscribe because in the coming weeks ahead, I'll be launching videos to share a bit more on CPF OA investments. I think that's a topic that I've touched on before, but quite some time back. So if you're keen, smash on subscribe and stay tuned for it. With that, let me introduce you to two previous videos I've done before. This video actually touches on CPF special account shielding. Let me refresh it. If you haven't seen it, check on it. This second video touches on this CNA interview where an individual actually talked to Lorna Tan, who in my opinion popularized the CPF shielding method. So with that, I'll sign off from here and see you in these videos. Take care and goodbye.